Hey guys. All right. So this will be the start of a basics series. We're gonna go back to learn some of the basics of After Effects. All right. So this first video will look at the UI, which is the user interface. After that, the next video will deal with compositions and projects. And mainly in compositions, just how to create a new composition, how to update it or edit it once you have created one, and other various options for the compositions. We'll also look at side panel controls because there's many different windows you can have for the panels, and understanding them will make your life a lot better when you are editing in After Effects. Finally, we'll have a video on animations. That will be split into two. The first one will deal with properties, timelines, and keyframes. The second one will focus on easing and motion blur. All right. So let's switch over to After Effects. All right. So here we are in After Effects. All right. So for the UI, we can see here we have the menu, which is up here. All right. We have the toolbar. All right. The toolbar is where we can find most of the tools that we use, such as the select tool, shortcut is V. The shape tool, shortcut is Q. And if you guys remember, the shape tool will either create a shape if no layers are selected, or a mask if a layer is selected, right? We have the text tool over here, shortcut is Control T. We also have the pen tool, shortcut is G. And that's mainly the ones we're using for now, all right? Down here, we have the project view, right? So this is, in here, you'll see all of the layers that we're working with, as well as the compositions that you create and the compositions that you are working on. In the projects panel, sometimes when you add an effect or begin an animation, you'll have a tab right beside the project. So here we have the project menu over here. If I click over here, you'll see that this is the effects control for animation 1 sketch in Oakland. So there's no effects here. I'm guessing video you work on, you can set the color temperatures and things on that. So for example, here now you can see we have effect controls for Childish Gambino, this video, right? Otherwise, we could just see only the projects, right? So project files. Now we have this, and you can just edit however you would, similar to over here. So if I open this up, it's the exact same menu, right? Here and here. But this is just another way you can work on it, right? So just to show you what this does, here you can select the white in the screen, which I guess there's not a lot of white in here, so I'll select something like this, and you can change the temperature. So now you'll see like it's a little brighter, or you can make it a little darker if you like. Bring it back to normal. So for now I'm gonna remove the effects because we don't need it. I mean, I'm not gonna save this file anyway, so it doesn't matter. So that's the project panel. That's where all the files are. To bring in a file, you can double click and import the files that you would like. You can also just use these options down here to create a new one, and I believe you should also be able to right click. Yeah, so you can right click and just choose what you want to bring in. All right. Over here, we have the composition view, or also the layer view. This is the area where you can see whatever it is that you're working on, whether it's a specific layer or the entire composition. So here we have the entire composition, which is all of the layers together. You can also see layers separately. For example, this is a rectangle here. If I just open it like this, you'll see this opens up. And here we only see this layer. We don't see any of the other layers that are in the main composition. So this way we can make changes here for whatever we want, right? So if I go over here, we'll go over composition. So this is the main composition. So right now we're looking at this box, right? So now back over here. If I make a change here, for example, I make this oddly like that, you'll see the change over here. You see that? So here we have in Oakland, and we have sober. So here we see the sober text here. If I open this composition up, you'll see this opens up down here, which is a different composition. But here we have the sober and the text, right? So we just see one rectangle, which is this, and the text, right? Like that. And if we go back to Telegraph Avenue, which is the main one we're working on over here, that's this composition, right? It's just we can separate it so that we can edit ourselves. So for example here, if I go, I wonder if I can actually edit this one, because I made it in Photoshop, so I might not be able to edit this. No, I can't. But for example, I can just do something like this. Let's just say add text to this composition, and let's say I add it here now, right? So now this text is a part of this composition. If I go back here, we'll see that now this part of the entire composition is updated to the individual update that I made to this. So that's how this is important. Sometimes you get different views, and usually it's just because you might have selected one of the layers or compositions separate from the entire composition. All right. Over here is the options panel, and there are many different menus and options you can look at. Character is one of the main ones that we use. Character has to do with the text, right? So here I can choose the text that I want to use, the color of the text, the size of the text. So if this is attached to that, I might be able to change it. No. But hey, if I open up sober, for example, this text, I can select the, select the layer, and if I want, I can make it bigger, right, over here. So that's a character. We have paragraph as well, which sets the alignment. So these are other important ones. And preview, which is what we use to see the video, right? Get a nice preview of the video, see it play, fast forward and stuff. Those are the main ones we look at, except for, we haven't looked at effects yet, but that's the next important one. So effects is a collection of all the different effects we can add to our layers, obviously. So there's many different effects here, as you can see. You can use the search to find anything you're looking for. Some of the useful ones could be the text ones, but we'll get into that later. But effects is an important one, and align is also helpful. If you want to align a specific layer to the center or to the side, you can use align. And for this, if you're missing a menu that you need or a window, you can actually go to window over here and choose it. So for example, if the character, okay, how can I? All right, so let's say now I don't have character, all right? It's not in here and I need it. You just go to window and just select it right here. And there we go, we got it back. And that's the same with preview or any of the other ones. If you find it missing, you can go here and find it here. All right, so you can play around with these. If there's any of these menu items that you're curious about, feel free to experiment and figure out what they do. And down here, of course, we have the timeline. We'll go more in depth in regards to the timeline in a later video. All right, so that's all I want to talk about for the. Oh, did I do that right? No. All right. So that's all I really want to talk about for the UI. Hopefully that helped you guys get a little bit better of a grasp on the UI of After Effects. And I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, bye.